Hello, fellow comrades. Welcome to the Scare Your Friends podcast, where in Soviet Russia, friends scare you. I am joined by my comrade, Dylan. How are you doing, Dylan?
You sound like a female Russian.
Yeah, it's a really terrible accent. Like, it's almost Swiss. Like, if you're going to do a Russian accent, you should probably do it right. But yeah, that was really bad. What story are we covering today?
And what's your name, sir?
John? I'm Dan.
What's your occupation? Lumberjack?
I'm a lumberjack, and I'm a part-time superhero, and I also, I do sales.
Entertainment!
Don't give up the day job.
Yeah.
We also have Nate wearing his shades in the dark.
I wear my sunglasses
Hey, Ray
at
Charles.
night.
Nate, I want you to give us a 10-second interlog or whatever about life. Go.
You can't see
Well,
life.
I live with Dylan.
That's got to be rough.
That's a sad story. And of course, I'm joined
He
by
can't
my
see me, so it's okay.
longtime friend, William.
Yeah. Yep. Covers it.
Man, my friends are awesome.
We're really off tonight. We ate a lot of fried food. Everybody's feeling
I had
sluggish.
some breakfast.
Yeah, I had pancakes, but
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I mean, it is
You
what
have
it
fried eggs.
Pretty.
That's right.
we're all a bunch of bloated monsters right now, so
I mean, it doesn't change much for me.
Not me.
So
some
you
of
did-
us are
you
always
told me
bloated.
about
So you did a Russian accent.
Yes.
I
Okay.
mean, everyone's sad, but why?
Now,
do you
here's
do
the
it?
reason. Now, in creepypastas, obviously, is stories about paranormal things, creepy
Okay.
things. So whenever science gets mixed in with creepypasta, it makes for an interesting story.
Oh no.
So tonight we are reading a story,
1-5.
a very famous story,
Oh my god, I think I know what story we're reading. Believe it or not.
the Russian sleep experiment.
Okay, I'm not joking. I'm gonna be dead serious right now. I'm training for my new job. The guy that I'm training with was listening to this yesterday. I'm not joking. I didn't hear anything. Like, I picked up bits and pieces, but it was really funny that was the only creepypasta he knew, and we're doing that story tonight. That's fucking bizarre.
Right. Now, there's a reason I'm doing this. I understand. Well, hold on. Let me preface this. I recently made a blog on, Skillfully. I call it the Skillfully blog.
Shameless
on
self-promotion.
Blogspot.
Welcome
a reason.
to
There's a
2001.
reason. I made the blog, and I basically made this whole big thing about who really wrote the Russian sleep experiment, where I basically did some digging. Because this story is technically uncredited. I recently found out that there is a novel about this that's based on the creepypasta that was written by Holly Ice. I talked about that for a little bit. And also there's a movie coming out. Except we know for a fact that Holly Ice didn't actually write the original creepypasta. And the original creepypasta...
I didn't know that.
What?
I didn't know that.
Anyway,
Keep
I feel
going.
like I do that a
Don't
lot.
Don't let him ruin
Did I
it.
mention I live with him?
We're sorry, Nate.
It could be worse.
So this story...
Can it though?
The oldest copy of the... Okay, so one of the creepiest things about the story. So let's go over a few things. This all started when I wanted to find the origins of this picture.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
I've seen that picture. Yeah.
Yes, it's a popular picture. And
It does look like a Wendigo.
the most popular answer is that it's some sort of
It's
a Halloween decoration.
Chupacabra.
But the website the website that I guess is linked as the answer to where this comes from, I could not find this, so I couldn't confirm. So there's no decisive evidence
Are you
about
saying that
where this is from.
Are you saying that a creepy picture on the internet has no real source?
That's what I'm saying.
Creepypasta.
And then there's also
We're
the
living
nature
it.
of the story. I tried to find out where it was originally posted, because this is a very old story. That the oldest post I could find was May of 2009.
Jesus. Okay.
So this was made
ages ago.
Yeah, it
Like,
is. 7
that
years
was
ago.
around the time I graduated high school. You're old.
But the
I know.
thing is, I'm going to show. I'll show this. I'll show the post to you afterwards. But basically, in that post, it says, "Hey, I've been posting the story around a lot on all these different kinds of forums." So that means it's probably older
Okay.
than the 2009 version.
Okay.
So it's an uncredited story. It is a standalone. It stands out even to this day as one
So
of
there's
the
no part
classics. No.
Thank
And even
God.
if there was, we wouldn't know where to look.
And this is not a lost episode.
Oh,
Thank
please,
Christ.
Don't let it be a lost episode.
It's not a lost
Really
episode.
long episode.
Thank
But this
God.
is... But right off the bat, the Russian sleep experiment, it's different because it is an experiment. So instead
Nice.
of it... Yeah, I don't want to say that it's a genre, but there are a few creepypastas that do the whole experiment thing. That where it's like
Like
some-
medical horror? Is that what
Yeah,
you're building to?
kind of.
Okay.
Not a lot of examples though, so I hesitate calling it a genre in creepypasta. I'm sure there's stories, but this even years later, this is still one of the most iconic stories on creepypasta.
That image you showed us kind of looked like the smiling man's like cracked out cousin.
I'm waiting for you to be trolling us and this to be horrible the entire way
Oh,
through.
man.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Well,
like we
it kind
said,
of
it's all
remind me of
matter of opinion.
it kind of remind me of a wall crawler in the Zombies Black Ops. For some reason, I don't know why.
What do you mean?
They know.
Oh, those
I
things from
I can see that.
Call of Duty.
Kino.
Yeah, that's what it
Like the
reminded me
wall
of.
crawlers.
That's what it looks like. That's fucking terrifying.
I mean, it doesn't have eyes, but yeah, it has the mouth.
Yeah,
You can see where it's coming from. I can't see where it's coming
Like
from.
Pan's Labyrinth shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is that yes, we don't
Some
know.
Del Toro nonsense in here.
So this story was made before there was like the Creepypasta wiki is younger than this story. So
It was
This was made
creepy pasta.
before.
It was creepy before it was pasta.
Oh.
well, there's been creepypasta that's
Doesn't
existed. It's just
add
this
it
is
to
a
still time.
this is a wiki where it kind of stores it all.
Okay.
But in any case, I think we've done enough talking, and we're gonna start reading the story.
Hell yeah. Oh, also, you're gonna start. We're gonna do counterclockwise. Just to let the viewers know, we're actually in a different room and we're sitting in different positions, so it's not going to be like the usual.
We're still getting we're getting
Thing.
used to this.
It's a different order
John,
if
then
anyone
Nate,
cares.
then Will, then me, then Dylan.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So people
All
are
right.
gonna be like, "What is this shit?"
You gotta change it up sometime.
Yeah, that's true.
Watch this get no views now. Because
No views,
Click.
100 dislikes.
what? I always like reading creepypastas with John, then Dan, then William, and then that guy I can't hear, and then that other guy that I hate.
0 I love you too, John. 0 to 10.
All right. Well, here we go. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas based on stimulant. So, getting right to the chase. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them, since it was toxic in high concentrations. This was before closed circuit cameras. This was before closed circuit cameras, so they only had microphones and the 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep in, but no bedding, running water, and toilet, and enough dried food to last all 5 for over a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II.
Oh boy.
So,
Oh boy.
that's the premise.
Well, here's the thing about
This premise sounds like
Anything-
actual history right
yeah,
now.
anything that happens in Russia is usually bad because the Russians are
World
crazy
War II
people.
experimentation is well
This is
documented
right.
for being super
And the
fucked up.
Russians, you have to keep in mind, these are the people that invented Russian roulette because they were bored during
And as
World War
I've said-
II. So
Oh yeah, so and
And
this is the other kind of. A lot of people debunk this as being a fake story, and yeah, it probably is fake. But
How dare
we
you.
don't
that's
know.
the point.
Right. But the thing is, we don't know the origins of the story, so we don't know if it was written as a creepypasta first.
Okay.
And this was during Stalin time.
It sounds like the
right?
origins were
It was
from
shortly
medical
after
notes
World War II. So
from 1940s.
So right on, yeah. So I could imagine this happening in the 1940s that they would do tests on.
Okay.
Okay.
Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised falsely that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents in their past. And the general tone of their conversations took on a darker aspect after the 4-day mark.
Wait, they're not supposed to... You can't not sleep for 30 days. How is that a thing?
but that's the thing.
That's
it's
the
like,
gas.
it's a
an
biological
experimental drug to keep them awake.
Oh, okay, that
which
makes
is
sense.
probably what they would have implemented in warfare because I mean that's like when you want to there was like that old thing like in history when you want to fuck with the enemy you just play music really loud so that
Yeah.
none of them would sleep and then disorient.
Well,
them.
they're doing science experiments to see if
Right.
they can keep them awake for 30 days. Now,
Right.
it was in the 1940s, and obviously there doesn't exist a gas that can keep you awake for 30 days.
Yeah, but they did a lot. There was a lot of
But
fucked
in the
up experiments.
1940s and there was
Yeah.
Like
you know what,
electroshock therapy,
I watched
lobotomies
this-
and shit.
I watched a documentary where United States troops would test out nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
Right? And the idea was after you drop a nuclear bomb in the city, you send your soldiers in.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a video of them dropping a nuclear bomb on some desert, and then soldiers are walking towards it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the radiation alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, 1940s wasn't exactly the prime time for science.
They knew what they were doing. The prime time for science.
Prime time. It's Bill Nye.
Bill
Not
Nye
so
and Neil
right, guy.
deGrasse Tyson.
Today, we're going to learn how radiation totally doesn't affect us. All right, where were we? I guess,
just take some rat away.
Yeah. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were and started to demonstrate severe paranoia.
Makes sense.
They stopped talking to each other and began alternately whispering to the microphones in one-way mirrored portholes. Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades, the other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself.
After 9 days, the first of them started screaming. He ran the length of the chamber repeatedly, yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but was only able to produce occasional squeaks. The researchers postulated that he had physically torn his vocal cords. The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it. Or rather, didn't react to it. They continued whispering into the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The two non-screaming captives took the books apart, smeared page after page with their own feces, and pasted them calmly over the glass portholes. The screaming promptly stopped. So did the whispering to the microphones. Fuck.
Ooh.
Oh.
That makes sense.
After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working, since they thought it impossible that no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must still be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives. They were afraid were either dead or vegetables.
They announced, "We are opening the chamber to test our microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor or you will be shot. Compliance will earn one of you your immediate freedom." To their surprise, they heard a single phrase in the calm voice. "We no longer want to be freed."
Fuck, man. Fuck.
They don't want to leave.
Ugh.
We just don't want to leave.
So what are they gonna... It's that old thing.
I'd be like, you know what? Good. We're just gonna leave you in there.
It's that old thing that,
Microphones work.
here's-
Okay, good.
It's like they're staring at the door to the chamber and they're like, do we want to open this? And if we do, what are we gonna,
Exactly.
Kind of an oversight to create a test chamber where you can barely see your captives.
They had the portholes, but yeah, they can't.
Make
But
them bigger.
They
Well, then they just
they
work
covered
shit.
up with feces.
Well, they're just-
I mean, what do you just?
Well, no, they sticky
calmly.
is how they described it. They calmly ripped the pages out. I could see someone calmly taking a page out of
Right,
the book,
and wipe their own
wiping their own
ass with it.
shit, and then
Yeah.
plastering it on.
Do what you gotta do.
I can't speak to them.
Feed them food that's more liquidy. You know,
Ew.
clearly they're giving them.
No, because then it
sticky
becomes a
shits.
fine paste.
No, because then the paper slides. Currently the consistency
Alright,
they're working
anyway.
with has
Oh,
got to be pretty gummy stuff.
This is what. This
rough
is how
edge.
William reacts.
This is
important.
This is the
I'm a
poop your-
cynic. They should have fed them liquid so that they couldn't shit.
Poop Your Friends podcast.
Okay, if they're dribbling water out of their anuses, they don't have this problem.
If the taste
You know?
is
It's just
Well, this is the 1940s.
all
Yeah,
right.
I'm saying,
Well,
how smart was
it's not like you
scientists
can,
back in
you
the
know,
1940s?
well, I'm playing Captain Hindsight right now, so stop.
Captain Ice.
We don't even know. We don't even know. So Nate,
hindsight.
Okay. Anyway, debate broke out among the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day.
The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on. The chamber was opened and soldiers sent in to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever, and so did the soldiers when they saw what was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state that any of them in life.
Ugh.
Makes sense with the picture.
The food rations past day 5 had not been so much as touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subjects' thighs and chest stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber, blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor. Precisely how much of the water on the floor was actually blood was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies. The destruction of flesh and exposed bone on their fingertips, indicating that the wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of the wounds indicated that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted.
So they essentially they're saying they were ripping flesh off themselves.
Yeah, we got that.
Now I'm like, you
Where
showed
did all
us
the
that picture.
skin come from?
You showed us that picture, and now I'm like thinking, these guys looked like the absolute shit.
They were
fest that
They
that
were like
picture was.
zombies. Yeah, they were like zombies.
Oh man. The abdominal organs below the ribcage of all 4 test subjects had been removed, while the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place. The skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the ribcage. All the blood vessels and organs remained intact. They had just been taken out and laid on the floor, fanning around the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 could be seen to be working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that what they were digesting was their own flesh, that they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days.
One thing I like about this story is the fact that it's not a guy telling you a story. It's like a researcher being like all scientific.
Yeah.
Like, the subjects did this, this, and this.
Yeah, but this is kind of like past the point of believability.
I mean, I had the same exact response. I was like,
I feel like
I mean, it's fucked up, but it's like
no, it's a good story. At this point, they've lost me though.
I feel
I
like-
no longer have
I feel
any
like I've seen it.
tenuous connection to reality.
yeah.
But I feel like when you read this, also like it reminds me either of a video game or a movie. I've seen this happen.
Yeah, kind of like Dead Space.
Okay, if a human being is completely deranged and out of their mind, they cannot remove their organs perfectly with
Right.
their own 2 hands.
Right.
I'm sure
Are you
that they
insane?
didn't. I'm pretty sure they didn't remove them perfectly.
He said they were undamaged.
They
In
were
the story.
undamaged and they were still working.
Undamaged and
Well,
working
the
on
heart-
the surgical.
well, the
No,
heart
no,
part is
no. He said the organs on the floor were undamaged. If you're tearing out your organs, you're popping them. If you're an insane person,
Yeah.
you're not a surgeon. These people don't know what they're doing.
They have
They wouldn't know their ass from their elbow. These are the 40s. No one knew their ass from their
They
elbow.
have give me the precious
just-
eyes.
Oh my god.
Just kills me.
All right.
Yeah, it stops getting a little.
I'm down with them eating their own flesh, but when they're doing weird voodoo
shit.
shit
Where,
with
yeah,
their
where like their
organs.
organs are outside, but they're
The
still
digestive
working.
tract
It's
is
like,
exposed, and
that's
so are the
weird.
lungs. It's like, come on, they're not alive.
no, not even that. Like being
Oh.
able to see the person's lungs and heart. I'll buy that.
The blood
But
loss
like the
is questionable.
organs,
That's
like
the
lying
part
on the
for me. That's
floor,
the
it's
big
like,
one.
and they're still working. It's
Please.
like okay.
Yeah, but maybe the
Come on.
scientist is over exaggerating it, or he's just leaving out
I
No,
agree
because-
with you,
because-
but
leaving out
because-
actual detail.
But
I
here's the
believe-
thing.
I-
Here's the thing. The way, but John's right. The way they're going about
Yep.
it's like stating matter of
Exactly.
fact. So like this is what I'm seeing.
this is being written as sort of like
like
a medical
report,
prognosis almost on
Right.
the situation.
Man, they were not very well
So,
educated scientists.
It doesn't really work
Or
with
it
the
could just be
hyperbole.
that it was written like their organs were actually on the floor and still working,
All right.
which is what we don't like.
We're
Most
mad.
of the soldiers were Russian special ops at the facility, but still many refused to return to the chamber to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber and alternatively begged to and demanded that the gas be turned back on lest they fall asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured by having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth. Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives if you count the ones that committed suicide in the weeks following the incident.
Russian suicide.
So like these like emaciated people. How many days has this been? 15?
Like 15.
15 days of no like real food.
They were eating themselves.
eating
That's
themselves,
real food.
But you're stealing,
Protein.
robbing Peter to save Paul in that case, Dan. I mean, really, these people are messed up. And Spec Ops agents are getting fucked up by them.
Well, this is Spec Ops of the 40s, though. This isn't like...
Yeah,
this
but there's
isn't-
still military-trained people
Come on.
fighting malnourished people with their organs laying outside of their body.
Yeah.
Like, all you gotta do is shoot them in the heart. The heart's exposed.
At this point.
No.
This has the vibe of we're trying to make these soldiers like when I think of this, I'm thinking of they're trying to make these soldiers like the super like crazy monster things. Then all of a sudden we try to go see them and you can't tame them. That's what I kind of get that vibe.
I mean, that's
of.
clearly what it's going for.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I don't know.
We're gonna make a perfect soldier.
Yeah, this is not how you do it.
It's like having Gollum find the precious.
Well, you have to remember the reason what they were doing. They just wanted to see if they can keep them awake for 30 days.
We fall
They
on
had
ass
no idea.
backwards.
Okay, but
into
when
the
you
perfect
walk in
soldier.
there and fucking experiment over.
Yeah, you know,
Well, I mean, I think that's
Experiment
what
over.
Hang 'em up, go
happened.
home.
Well, that's what happened. I mean, after 15 days, they walked in to try and get them out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, here's they'll probably go over this maybe in the story, but it's like
I don't want to get too deep.
I
There's
would
so much more.
I would love to learn what exactly was it that made these people so insane. Was it that they weren't sleeping, and what happens with the brain?
Yeah,
It's like heroin. You get
Right.
addicted to
Nick,
it.
I don't think that's
just
okay.
go ahead.
In the struggle, In the struggle, one of the 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured and he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of a morphine derivative, and still fought like a cornered animal, breaking the ribs and arm of one doctor. When Hart was seen to beat for a full 2 minutes after he had bled out to the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood. Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word "more" over and over, weaker and weaker, until he finally fell silent.
The surviving 3 test subjects were heavily restrained and moved to a medical facility, the 2 with intact vocal cords continuously begging for the gas, demanding to be kept awake. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room that the facility had. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, because they were fine, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative they had given him to prepare him for the surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints when the anesthetic gas was brought out to put him under. He managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one wrist, even through the weight of a 200-pound soldier holding that wrist as well. It took only a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under, and the instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped. In the autopsy of the test subject that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal level of oxygen. His muscles that were still attached to his skeleton were badly torn, and he had broken 9 bones in his struggle not to be subdued. Most of these were from the force his own muscles had exerted on them.
See, this is a cool story. I'm getting this is like, I don't know, I could definitely see this being it's going to be terrible in a horror movie, but I could definitely see this being a movie.
Yeah.
This is one of those creepypastas that we talked about where you could see it being even a short YouTube film.
Yeah.
Not like a full-fledged hour and a half long movie, but like a short YouTube film. I could definitely see this. But yeah.
It's a cool premise, and you have to remember that the time where this was written, this was before Creepypasta
Right.
was really
Yeah, this was the
popular.
40s, It was
Right.
a long time ago that they wrote this.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was,
we obviously can assume
Of
that
course.
it might have not been written in the 40s.
See,
This is just some writer.
it's
But-
well written, it's interesting. I still have a hard time reconciling their weird super strength with their obvious physical.
Well, I mean, it's
being all fucked up.
I think they're saying in the stimulant, there's something with the stimulant.
Yeah,
keeping
no,
you
I'm-
awake.
we're-
That's not. I think okay, so I agree with you on the organs. Fine,
That made no sense.
it makes no sense that they would be removed
Nope.
perfectly.
With
But
your goddamn
there's something
hands.
in the stimulant. If there's something in the stimulant that allows a person to stay awake for that long and keeps them that strong, despite the fact that they're malnourished as fuck, that's the idea. I think is what
yeah,
the
Survival,
stimulant
it's
is.
basically like survival of the fittest, adapt or perish.
Well, it's kind of like your brain needs rest, and if you're not getting that rest, then
Plus the stimulants what
right.
keeps you awake.
Right, but that's the thing. If your brain's not getting the rest, you'll slowly descend to madness. I think is what they're trying to get across. But this is just fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to pass judgment because we're not done, so.
Right.
The second survivor had been the first of the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed. He was unable to beg or object to surgery, and he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval when the anesthetic gas was brought near him. He shook his head yes when someone suggested reluctantly they try the surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for the entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin. The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgeon stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever his eyes met hers. Fuck. That's the creepiest part of the story right there.
I mentioned this monster just looking at this, like, I always...
Hey.
It's a little sexist, but I always imagine, like, the typical, like, really hot nurse, and then...
With the blonde and the big titties.
And the monster is just like...
What are you doing after this? I'm gonna read the next little bit.
Okay.
When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming this must be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched so the patient could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting.
Oh my god.
Fuck. Okay.
Vertical or horizontal?
This reminds me of, there was a story in one of those, like, short stories to scare your friends books where, like, this person, like, accidentally, like, he had a fire and he was, like, trying to cook food and he accidentally, like, burned his finger. And so he, like, took a bite and he was like, wow, that's really good. And then he burned his whole hand and ate it and then ended up, like, eating all of himself.
That's
or
awesome.
something.
I do remember that.
This
vaguely.
is, like, really reminding me of that
Yeah.
now. Like, I'm delicious kind of thing. I can't get enough.
Just need some salt.
Yeah, really.
Of course, he's saying he's not eating it. He's saying, I want you to keep cutting.
Well, he was earlier.
Now, we
Hey,
can make
This guy must listen to My Chemical Romance a lot.
Pain, can't get enough.
Oh.
Oh.
The other two test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well, although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously.
Imagine this. He's cutting into his ribcage.
Like it tickles.
Dude, this is like giving the Joker
Oh
surgery.
man, that would be even creepier. It tickles! It tickles!
Oh man.
I want to see that video where like that guy burns the Tickle Me Elmo doll.
yeah.
But as it's on fire, it's like, it tickles! It tickles! Satan! Master!
Once paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes. The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to escape their bonds. The moment they could speak, they were again asking for the stimulant gas. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted to be given the gas again. Only one response was given: I must remain awake. Oh, I just have a question also. Did they, I don't know if I missed this or not, did they explain what ethnicity the prisoners were?
They're Russian war criminals,
Okay.
is what they said.
Okay.
They're World War II criminals, so we can assume that they might be German.
POWs.
Or maybe Nazis or Russians.
Yeah.
This is oh man, I totally forgot what I was going to say now.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I just remembered. If they keep asking for the gas, why don't they just give them
The gas.
the gas?
They're probably scared of what the fuck
No,
it is.
give them the gas, make a bigger window,
Right.
feed them liquidy things.
If
You have a good
they're
shot
going to be
at
violent
observing.
if they don't get the gas,
I
give
think
them the
if this
gas.
actually is happening, you are probably, like, terrified.
No. If you're an evil, crazy Russian scientist, this is perfect. You're like, this is the best Monday ever because my boring experiment has turned awesome. You know, they fell ass backwards into a crazy flesh-eating super soldier. So
obviously-
you lock him up and you see where this goes.
Yeah.
Obviously, these weren't Harvard scientists because they don't know what the fuck they're doing and not giving the fucking gas.
We could have been better crazy evil scientists than these
Oh,
guys.
Give them the gas!
Absolutely.
All right. All three subjects' restraints were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber, awaiting determination as to what should be
Good.
done with them.
Crank
The
it up.
researchers, facing the wrath of the military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subjects. The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instant saw potential, and he wanted to see what would happen if they were put back on the gas. While the researchers strongly objected, they were overruled.
I like this guy. I'm a fan. He heard me. I was watching the story's like, oh shit.
This has horror
I
action
want,
movie
like-
cliches
I
all
want
over it.
It makes no sense, but I want like that evil like guy like petting the cat, like Good. Good. Keep him awake.
Put
See what happens.
Put
No,
them
but, like,
back in the
The one
chamber.
lights on him where you can't see his face, like
Yeah,
his face
yeah,
is in shadow.
His silhouette
And he
in the
just pet
background.
cat. Turn the gas back on.
But sir!
Turn
Do it.
the gas
Turn
on.
the gas. I will break you.
Do you want to go back to being a peasant?
I will let Fluffy attack.
In the gulag.
If you, although I think it would have been better if he was like, if you don't put them back in the chamber, we will
People are
put
really
you
gonna
in
love
the
our
chamber.
terrible Russian
it's one
accents.
of those. Yeah.
Do as he says.
I'll read this one. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all three stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back on the gas. It was obvious at this point that all three were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. The mute subject strained his legs against the leather bonds with all his might. First left, then right, then left again, for something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off the pillow and blinking rapidly. Having been the first to be wired to the EEG, most of the researchers had been monitoring his brainwaves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined inexplicably. It looked as though he was repeatedly suffering brain death before returning to normal. As they focused on the paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut at the moment his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time, and his heart simultaneously stopped.
It's not Nazi zombies. It's Russian zombies.
Well, they're not.
They got it wrong.
Now they're dead, so they're not zombies at all, unless they just wake up.
Yeah, but they were brain. Didn't they just say they were brain dead and they were back normal after
Right.
that? So they're still alive.
It's like they die and come back, which is fucked up.
Zombies.
Zombers.
Okay.
Zombles.
The only remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed, and now his brainwaves showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers.
Are you fucking for real?
He did it!
This is
Oh
amazing.
my God.
He
Put
did
them
it!
Put the 2 test subjects in there. Oh, by the way, throw 3 scientists in there just in case.
Meow.
Fuck you.
One of the named
What do you think, Mr. Fluffy?
You think Chad should go in as well?
By the way, Chad, classic Russian name.
One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between the eyes. They turned the gun on the mute subject and blew his brains out as well.
This guy doesn't fuck
Right,
around.
did you? I think you.
No,
You
No, he
skipped
didn't.
it.
He
No.
paused in the middle of the paragraph.
Yeah,
No,
no,
he
he was
didn't.
fine. He
No,
was
the
fine.
only remaining subject that could speak started screaming.
We already read it.
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, we were
We're in
fine.
the right spot.
okay, sorry.
This is definitely like plays out like a shitty horror movie.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
feel like I'm
this is the
reading
climax.
like Doom the movie kind of thing.
I love that fucking movie.
Terrible movie.
It's awful. That's why it's so good.
Yeah. So now, what the mute guy is dead.
Yeah,
He's dead, and the guy who told him to go in there is dead.
yeah.
So now there's 4 left.
No, it's
Well,
it's
2 technically.
no, it's 1. There's 1 test subject left, and whatever scientist this is.
Okay, who's up? Well,
Oh, shit.
where are we?
Let me just do
He
Yeah,
pointed his
yeah.
gun at the remaining.
Okay, thank you. Pointed his gun at the remaining subject, still restrained to a bed as the remaining members of the medical and research team fled the room. I won't be locked in here with these things. Not with you, he screamed at the man strapped to the table. What are you, he demanded. I must know. The subject smiled. Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go to the nocturnal haven where we cannot tread. The researcher paused, then aimed at the subject's heart and fired. The EEG flatlined as the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free.
Jesus fuck.
Oh, so they're basically fighting with their own demons.
Yeah, well, I mean that's
Teammates?
the thing.
Demons.
No, demons.
Oh, demons. Those are teammates.
Fuck you. Sorry, that was uncalled for.
And yeah, so that's the unknown author. This is a very old story.
I want sci-fi to make a movie about this.
Yeah, seriously.
There is a novel that we did not read, by the way. That's 130 pages that expands upon this idea. But this is the original uncredited story, The Russian Sleep Experiment. So I guess it's time for your thoughts. Tan, what about you first?
Me? I enjoyed it. I liked it. Even when we were in the middle and we were talking about, how unrealistic the organ thing is, I think if you remove that from the story, it's pretty believable. And it's actually very... I enjoyed the story because there is a sense of believability, and we kind of touched on like the science of the 1940s.
Because in the back of your mind,
believable.
you the thing with watching any horror movie and when you're reading any horror thing is kind of somehow that what you're watching or reading isn't really real.
Yeah.
But you want to enjoy it and you suspend your belief for a bit.
The thing is with this story is that it's more plausible just because it takes place in the past. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we talked about this. It's a simpler time, so it's like
why would
this could have been feasible.
It's like this is bullshit. That's unethical.
Right.
Why would they ever do? Oh,
it was in the 40s,
World War II.
Right.
And they're Nazis.
Right.
It's implied that they're Nazis.
Right. I mean the
Quality.
The organ thing in the ending monologue is kind of cheesy.
I was about to say, am I the only one who thought the ending blows?
The monologue was.
I don't mind
cheesy.
the ending, to be honest, but I guess it is.
What the hell was that?
What?
Genuinely, what the hell was that ending?
Well,
No. Wait, this is a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
There's a POW locked in a room with a stimulant.
Yeah.
Stayed awake. Went crazy, and then had this weird, lucent,
Lucent.
horror trope-ridden, cliched rant to end it out.
It would have been better if he just shot him.
me?
It would have been better if he just shot him.
I think it's the idea that
you know what he should have done? He should have said, "What are you?" And the subject should have screamed and grappled at him, or asked to go back in the room, or just no,
not even that. He could have been like, "What are you?" And then he could have shot him, and then he could have said, "I'm so close to being."
What are you? Bang!
If he said, "What are you?"
Fuck!
What you just said, if he said, "What are you?" and shot him, and he just did the clear, nearly free line,
that would have been fine.
Perfect. Would have been fine. This weird, lucent fucking ridiculous. We are the madness that lurks within you all. Fucking DeviantArt story ass motherfucker.
Right.
Evil Dead shit.
This has fucking, what's it called? Like, if they didn't mention that fucking ending, I would have said this would make a great horror film.
Yep.
Problem is now, this is probably just a fucking dream one of the scientists is having.
It's very.
And just recalling all the stuff that happened in his dream.
That end, it's just monologue.
The story is very creepy. It's just, in terms of.
I liked it. I just think the ending's terrible.
Yeah, and it's just certain moments or whatever. But I don't know. I did really like this one, and what's weird is like. I don't know, to me, from what we've read so far, it seems to me like creepypastas are more like urban legends.
Yeah, I mean, look,
very much so. Yeah.
Right, and this kind of stretches that a little bit. But then again, so I was listening to the No End House podcast, and I'm thinking about that and trying to compare it to this, and it's like, looking back at No End House, I don't think it should even be considered a creepypasta.
What, this?
No End House.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason, this reminds me of No End House, just because there's, I don't know what it is about it, but like...
The only connection I can make to No End House is it plays with that fear of what happens when I open the door.
Yeah.
The fear of the unknown.
Yeah, it's probably what it is. But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of stretching what I feel like it means to be a creepypasta, because this is kind of an urban legend. But at the same time, it's sort of like a historical... That
being said, we haven't really read enough creepypasta to know what is or isn't.
That's true.
I keep saying that 90% of creepypasta are written by people who aren't authors, and they write something that they think of, and they don't really think it out.
Well, yeah, no shit. If they're real authors, they'd write books and get money.
Right.
No offense to everyone who writes creepypastas.
Yeah. No, but I enjoy it with the end and like that middle part.
They're like fan fictions and stuff. They're just fun passion projects
sort of.
that people do.
Yeah. What did you think, Dylan?
I liked it. It was pretty good until oh my god, I sound like you imitating
the
me.
monologue.
Yeah, the monologue.
You
It was all good, and then that damn ending.
It hurt to read for me personally.
That damn ending. I'm like, I'm trying to picture it in my head. I can see them and looking at the
It flies in the face of all the setup.
It
To
does.
have this weird, lucid fucking trope rant
That's true.
at
Yeah,
the very end.
and
It
it's
really
like-
does.
It's like, really? Are you gonna demolish all
Just
what you just said
morph
there?
into
with
generic
just-
horror.
And then you just said, "Oh, it was kind of. It could just be a dream."
I'm the darkness in
What?
your mind. It's like, shut up, man.
Yes.
You're a lunatic.
I
Don't
was
give me
born in
this.
the darkness.
Yeah, really.
I was
I-
born in the dog.
I liked your story until you talked.
Yeah, exactly. No, the ending is not one of my favorite parts of the story.
Awful.
I can disprove the story in multiple ways, such as the fact that the KGB didn't exist.
All right,
in
no,
the
That's
United
one.
States.
That's one of the comments.
That's
one
I was glancing through the comments.
I
when we
mean,
finished
to
it.
be
Just stuff
fair,
like that.
we were-
Also, there was there's experiments where the world record holder for longest time awake was like 12 days.
That's what I said at the
But I
very
mean,
beginning.
again,
It makes
it's
no sense.
it's not on the stimulant gas. It's just him trying.
that's
to
the
stay
thing,
awake.
that's
He's like
what-
about a false sleep.
Magical.
I kind of wanted more out of this, like I was saying
But
before.
I
Like,
think what the ending,
what
I
made them
think what he
crazy
tried,
wasn't just
I
staying
think
up.
what this author tried
and
to
not
do with
getting
the
it.
ending. That's what I want to talk about is the ending.
Mhm.
I think what he want. Are you serious right now?
Oh.
Where is my charger?
Just so everyone knows, the
Anyway.
laptop recording this podcast is about to die.
Colin, this isn't charging.
Oh shit.
No, but anyway, like I was
Turn it
saying,
There we go.
we're good.
Nope.
No. Okay. While they're trying to figure that out, I wish they would have done more in terms of like what made them crazy.
I'm still gonna talk about the ending. I just have to figure this
I
out
don't know.
first.
Like it just feels like, was it just because they were awake, or was it the gas? 'Cause
Hi there. Well, we had some technical difficulties. Because our friend Nathan is just so brilliant that he decided to play a certain song on his phone by accident, of course. That lasted for 15 seconds. I tried to save it to the best of my abilities. I'm just not very good at editing. So unfortunately, we had to cut this part out. It's March 18th right now as I edit this. And, my God, I just want to take this opportunity to address a few things about the channel. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's grown so much. And it's only going to grow from here. It's March 18th as I'm speaking. I'm editing the podcast right now. Trying to get it up by tomorrow. I might get it up tonight. I'm not really sure. You might see this later tonight in a few hours, or you might see this on March 19th. But in any case, right now, the Skillfully Circus has 40 subscribers and more than 1,300 views. And that's insane to me. You know, I mean, this channel's come a long way from a crummy little 1999 video, which is somehow the most popular video on this channel, and I will never fully understand how that's possible. So again, thank you guys for your support. Quick shout outs to Slime Beast and his website, toospooky.com. Go check out check out that website. And also, very recently in fact, shout outs to Midnight Marinero, who gave us a free promotion on Undercooked Analysis. He shouted out Scare Your Friends on his most recent episode of UCA. I believe it's the Gristers episode or something, so links are in the description for toospooky.com, the Midnight Marinero channel, the Midnight Marinero forum. I'm very much a part of all of those. Yeah, so go check those out and expect a more formal update video soon. So sorry about this interruption. I just wanted to briefly talk to you guys. So, without further ado, let's head back to the Russian sleep experiment discussion.
I don't even know where that came from.
What? First of all,
I
why is
wasn't
that on
even
your
touching.
phone?
I wasn't even touching it.
Seriously, okay.
I
We're
was
recording a
What?
Creepypasta podcast.
Oh,
I don't know what song that was.
All about the bass.
we're having
Megan
technical
Trainor.
difficulties. We'll be right
Well,
back.
no,
Come
thanks
on.
for saying it. Jesus.
Oh, who gives
well,
a
clearly you're gonna have to cut that out. Anyway,
Okay,
No,
I'm talking about
I-
the ending
well-
before I
well,
lose
yeah,
my...
just
before I lose my mind.
just to finish my
Okay,
thought.
sorry.
I really would have wanted to know more about this. Than Will's gonna hate me for saying this. The psychological aspect of it.
I don't disagree. I think that's fine. I think the way this story is structured, it kind of like I would not have minded at all to see where the gas was going,
Mhm.
and they just really abandon it. It turns into just magical plot gas. Get to our super cool
The
monologue.
MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It's Magical Podcast. But the ending, I don't love the ending. I don't because I think what the author tried to do with the ending was the idea of having the subconscious come to the front of the mind and the front of the mind come to the back, so that the personality changes based on the subconscious.
You can try to add your own explanation. It's not in the story in any way. It's not referenced. There's no...
Because it's a scientist, though. He's not going to say anything like that. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
think
maybe,
it was
but
this.
maybe John's right. Like, I can see where you're going with that, because it's like they had moments where their brain was completely
Because
dead.
I don't think
And
this
then they were
creature...
awake.
I think it's more than implied that whatever personality went into that chamber is not the same person.
Right.
I'm pretty positive about that.
And I think you're
so
onto
you're
something
talking.
there.
So you're
but-
talking about how a crazy Russian, or not Russian, but a crazy political prisoner or Nazi, whatever. Yeah, he wouldn't have this rant. But this isn't him anymore, or this isn't her anymore.
Yeah, but it's-
or whatever
But
it was.
why is the subconscious just a collection of every horror trope? Why couldn't it be cool?
Maybe it is. I don't know.
To be fair, I think if you guys can visualize it, that one level in
I'm gonna read it again.
Call of
Hold
Duty
on.
in the Black
I
Ops
read it like 3
campaign,
times.
where you play as
Reznov.
Reznov?
Or, no, you don't play as Reznov.
no,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, yeah, you do play as Reznov. You go
For
onto
one
the ship,
level.
yeah, for that one level, and then when you see everyone, all of your guys dying from the gas and stuff, I'm
Yeah.
picturing that, except they're actually they're scientists and they're watching
Yeah.
the guys turn to this horrible
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mason's
And some
the
of
main
them
character.
wanted to watch them
I know, but I'm
become
saying
that, and some of the
Reznov
researchers
level.
didn't want to do that. And now you can see why the research was fighting
All
this
right,
off,
look,
because
I
not
don't-
only did
This
those...
fucking webpage.
Because not only did did they want them in the chamber, they wanted to put researchers in there.
Did we get the laptop working, by the way?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, good.
It just
Okay.
the charge was
Yeah. I just wanted to...
I wanted
It was
also to
wrong.
point out that I haven't read
Yeah,
the
this
novel.
is so
It's
fucking
awful.
cheesy.
It's awful.
Like,
And
I get
see, here's the thing.
I
'cause,
get
like,
where the author was going with it, and I think John's right. I think it's like supposed to be like the like
Yep.
what we most fear, like our deepest,
But,
darkest
like,
fears.
I'm
it
not-
doesn't- it
I'm not
manifests itself
mad
in this
that he
stuff.
tried to do a subconscious thing. I'm mad that it's written like shit.
Yeah.
And that it's terrible, and it's every cliche, and it's like eye-rollingly, face-cringingly terrible.
One by one,
Well,
we
alright,
will take
yes,
you.
but I'm just saying that in the context of it being an older story, yeah, maybe it lost some of its luster. But I'm saying that a lot of the tropes that we think about may have not had.
Are you for real gonna argue like the Seinfeld argument for the Russian sleep experiment right now?
What's the Seinfeld
What?
argument?
The idea that Seinfeld's not funny because every other show's copied it. When people, it's like,
I don't
Okay,
believe
go-
that.
go-
That's a
Yeah,
complete.
but I don't-
Let's not blow my mind. For
no,
That is not
you're,
this at
no,
all.
you're saying you're saying at the time this was written, it was less cliche than it seems now. That's your argument, right?
That's fair.
That's the Seinfeld argument, is
It's
that
not-
Seinfeld was funny, but now that everyone's copied it, people don't find it funny anymore because it's overdone.
okay. But
Sorry I brought it up
I
when
don't
no one
mean-
knew
I
what
don't
the
know
fuck I was
anything about
talking
that.
about.
no,
can't-
that makes sense though.
I mean,
respond to
that's
that.
what you're
agree,
arguing.
but-
I disagree with
Okay.
applying that to this. I don't.
Bring it up.
I'm
Right,
assuming this
no.
was written in the last,
I
like...
agree with Will.
10
You
years.
also have to remember something else, that this is an uncredited story. So whoever wrote this just wrote it and then posted it.
I know, but we're gonna critique it.
Yeah, but this
I
is
don't give a
what
fuck.
we do, man.
Man,
We're not getting paid for this, but we
Can't-
enjoy doing
can't
it.
get all up on me for critiquing it. That's what I'm here for.
Nate, what's
You
the
asked
story?
us.
I enjoyed it except for the shitty ending. That's all I have to say.
Perfect.
Nate, always the top contributor in these podcasts.
I agree with Nate. I'm
Really good.
So it's a 5 for 5 that the ending was shitty.
Yes.
Yeah, the rest of it was fine, except the
Alright.
organ thing. So
The
wow,
organ
we
thing
actually agreed on
Yeah,
like
very
almost wholeheartedly.
solid consensus.
Oh my
So,
god!
Give us a like for
The Russian
that.
sleep experiment.
Shut up.
Like, comment, and subscribe. What do you think of the Russian sleep experiment?
Oh, man.
Go sleep a comment
This is guys. This is unprecedented. This is the first time.
I don't know.
podcast we
What do I
agreed
do
on
with my
everything.
hands?
All right. Yeah.
This actually made us better friends instead of worse friends.
Guys,
For the first
I
time.
don't mind Dylan now.
Do you guys want to go get ice cream?
Aw.
It's
And
such a
on
nice
that
problem.
happy note of a Creepypasta podcast, this is what we do. We bring brothers together. So this has been John A.K. Skillfully. Someone talk. Someone say something.
Well, you pointed at Dylan, so he fucked it up.
Yeah,
Dylan, Dan, Will, Nate.
Goodbye.
There you go.
Bye.
Somebody knows-
Have a good night.
Don't do drugs.